Front page news and second page. Bananas on the prairies. Dean Sofer grows bananas in a greenhouse on his land near Saskatoon. It's an unusual crop to see on the prairies, but is just one example of how Canada's farmers are transforming and adapting due to climate change. I think I'm done with mainstream media. Let me tell you about this. So anybody that knows me or follows me for a while knows that climate change is almost a non-issue. I did not build this greenhouse and I did not build bananas due to climate change. In fact, the first bananas I ever harvested in our specialized greenhouse that I designed was in minus 45 Celsius. So I guess miniature ice ages help with growing extremely tropical plants with next to no energy.
You have stolen my dreams.
Now, I'd pretty much do an interview with anybody, but this guy, Jeremy at the Canadian Press, you could tell by the questions and what he's kind of pushing and wanting to get out of me.
How dare you?
But I'm very careful of what I say. So I specifically said in the interview when he's pushing for the climate agendas, I said, man-made climate change is almost a non-issue. The next thing that I said was, all it took was somebody with an idea and to build something to innovate, and we can grow bananas in Zone 3 gardening. Just like somebody else invents something that's innovative and helps the rest of humanity, that's a good thing, right? Can we just stick to that? When you twist and manipulate and straight out lie, that's not a nice thing to do. But I guess some of this stuff went Canada-wide, and this is the main newspaper in the town that I live, the Star Phoenix, and the weekend edition. I was in Alberta at the time, and it wasn't until Sunday evening when I talked to my mother on the phone. She's like, did you happen to look at the newspaper? I'm like, no, why? Oh, you're front and second page, Dean. And here's page 2 I'm also on, 2 nice pictures of me, but it's a bunch of different things that with all a climate change twist.
How dare you?
I'm worried about my quality of food, and it says that as well. And I'm also worried about inflation. Do you know what the definition of inflation is? Expansion of the currency supply. Okay? Who can expand the currency supply? AKA print a whole bunch of currency. The government and central banks. Okay? Now, when inflation goes up, the food prices go up. Obviously, there's a lot more currency chasing the same amount of goods, okay? So if inflation can only come from one place. Now, prices can rise and decrease for other reasons, which is not inflation. So for example, we went through a 2 to 3 year drought cycle where I live, okay? Now, hay bales, if you had to buy hay or an animal feed or straw, went way up because we had extreme drought. Now this spring, it's back to kind of average and normal. Actually, we got so much rainfall here, we're going to have a bumper crop of hay. So in a little bit of a drought for 2 years, hay prices up. Okay. Now I'm going to have a bumper crop and probably get twice as much good quality hay and twice as much pasture. Hay prices go down. Okay. That's not inflation. That's not deflation. That's prices rising and falling based on a factor. Now, also, when governments and central banks print so much currency that it forces food prices up so high that the average person can't afford to buy food anymore, companies also do other things like shrinkflation, reduce the size of their crappy food that they're selling, or they'll even do substitution. So for an example about the quality of food, I thought I'd treat myself to some chicken wings, really expensive frozen chicken wings that I was going to make at home. I just was in a rush and I grabbed them. It was $20 that was enough to feed me. Okay, special treat for Dean. Goodie. First ingredient, chicken. Second ingredient, soy. How does that even work?
This is all wrong.
I took my kids to get an ice cream cone after their swimming lessons and went to the main place where you get ice cream, the chain. And my wife told me that this is technically not ice cream. Sure enough, I looked it up and yeah, when you get an ice cream cone, it's not ice cream and it's super expensive. Could you imagine if it was actual ice cream? I'm worried about this.
You have stolen my dreams.
I'm trying to feed my kids healthy and you can't because the government prints so much currency. So to blatantly lie and disregard my character and my beliefs and blatantly lie on the front and second page that I do these things because of climate change.
How dare you?
Again, harvested my first bananas ever in a mini ice age where it was minus 45 Celsius. So I guess climate change really helped me grow tropical fruits. It wasn't innovation or anything like that. Pessimistic on the world, says Dean. Yes, absolutely. Climate change? Not so much. And then they switch to somebody else because they can't quote me and some completely non-related thing, absolute, completely out of context. I don't know if there's any lawyers or something in the comments, like what is this when it's blatant lies and taken out of context? Is it actually slander or is it just hurting my reputation? Because I don't want to be part of this Orwellian 1984 ridiculous nightmare.
I shouldn't be up here.
Once you have the structure properly designed, insulated, and well built, you can grow pretty much anything here, designed to optimize heat and light from the sun. That's nice. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I designed it and I share it for free. And there's people all over the world building these because it doesn't have much of an operating cost and you get fresh food all the time. That's nice, right? There's all these memes that I like. One is weather too hot, climate change. Weather too cold, climate change. Weather not changing at all, believe it or not, climate change. And another one, I'm worried about climate change. Tell the truth. No, I'm actually worried about climate change. Tell the truth. I want communism. There you go. This bugs me so much because one of the things that I tell people about is that carbon dioxide is one of the most beneficial elements on the planet.
How dare you?
We're all made of carbon, right? All the materials in this greenhouse, these bananas, and myself, we're all carbon.
Why don't you settle down?
So one thing, it's kind of funny to think about like inflation. So government prints a bunch of currency, but if we had triple the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, plants would literally double in production. So I would get twice as many hay bales, a better quality hay bale. My pasture would grow twice as much and I could double the amount of livestock on my pasture if carbon dioxide came way up in the atmosphere outside because it's good for everything. And then with all of that excess food, because the planet's flourishing at that time, it would bring prices way down. So I could have double the amount of beef cows on my land, the same amount of land, but the grass would double twice as fast, so there's twice as much feed, then I have twice as much cows, an abundance of food, and the food gets cheaper and better. For mainstream media, I'm done with them, unfortunately. So this is the worst of them. Like, I've been taken out of context many times. I do a lot of things. But it's one thing when it was one of the video interviews with Global or CTV News or whatever, one of the many other things I did where they have me on camera and it's video. So they can only say what comes out of my mouth. They can't change what I say, like using AI to like get climate change is the reason why. So the only way I will do a mainstream thing will be in the future here is if it's live. Now, on Monday morning, a Winnipeg radio station phoned me because apparently they saw this article. But I was able to go on live. So, like, why did you build the greenhouse? Well, I'm worried about inflation and the quality of food because of it and things like that. And it was nothing about, you can't take me out of context when I'm live, right? And another thing, a question was asked, so when did you do this? Or was it because of the pandemic? It was kind of implied. I said, oh, no, absolutely not. I knew about the economy and government policy and monetary policy and the problems that we have for 15 years. And I was just getting around to the greenhouse project. Now I'm working on the barn, so I have my dairy and livestock and poultry and that part covered. I covered the fruits and vegetables in here. So it wasn't because of the pandemic that got you to build the greenhouse. I said, oh, no. The pandemic was just the cherry on the top of the ginormous inflation cake. One thing I said is the government can't print food, but they can sure print a lot of currency. So probably the only people that read this are little old ladies in an old folks home or the baby booming generation. You know, I get more good viewership and good things on YouTube than some of this garbage that's literally lies and alters things. But it's kind of interesting to be a part of it the Orwellian nightmare of taking my things out of context and trying to literally ruin my reputation for groupthink. It's sad what this world has come to, actually. But I know that, and it's another reason why I do the things that I do. If you take the opposite perspective, you're probably closer to the truth. So if somebody says, trust the science, science is an ever-evolving thing of trying to destroy the current thesis and the current thought process. So if somebody says, trust the science, they're an idiot. You ignore the mainstream garbage, and you can go watch me on YouTube. So don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm not going to bend the knee. I'm in nobody's pockets. I've never received 1 penny of government grants or financing for anything I do, but I'll hang this on the wall with the other things that I've been in over the years. And, you know, front page, it's kind of nice. No such thing as bad press, I guess. And it's just an ongoing joke. Climate change.
This is all wrong.
Miniature ice ages and bananas, they go together, right? Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.